Purnang Ananta Shakting Sansara Sarang Hridayeshwarancha Vijnana Rupang Sakalarti Nashang Srimad Gurung Nitarang Namami Srimad Gurung Nitarang Namami. We begin with an invocation of the Guru, the messenger of wisdom, the one who beckons light, the light of the knowledge which takes us from ignorance to wisdom, as all our previous speakers were speaking about. I have a great challenge, friends, to speak after such great stalwarts here. So, I will start on a different note. Two world leaders were, here's a story. Vivekji was talking about storytelling, so here is a story. Two world leaders were flying in a balloon, discussing the current problems of the world. The balloon was remote controlled from the ground, American technology. And there was a sensor inside the balloon which showed them where they were flying. When the discussions becoming animated, so much of crisis all over the place, Gulf War, oil crisis, border issues, suddenly they find that the sensor is not working. The balloon is flying fine, but the sensor is not working. They don't know where it's flying. So one of them got anxious. No, we have to stop the discussion now. I need to find out where we are flying. And the other, the American leader, was always very suave and smooth and never perturbed. He says, oh, I'll find out for you, don't worry. And looks down. A man with a black suit, an umbrella, and a briefcase was going down the road. And the American leader shouts, hello, sir. The man looks up. Can you tell us where are we? The leader asks. And the man immediately responds, sir, you're in a balloon. Then the American leader tells the other world leader, sir, we have to ask someone else. We cannot trust him. Why? He's a management professor. How do you find out? How do you make out? 1, quick solutions. 2, technically correct. 3, completely irrelevant. So this is my other introduction. So with this background, friends, exactly this is the problem today. Quick solutions, techno-economic solutions to a problem which is organic, as Vinayakji said. An organic problem needs an organic approach, right? And my previous speakers had spoken elaborately about it, so abundantly. So I won't go into details again on that. I will just focus on what we can do as management educators. There's a management institute which I'm addressing, management students. I come from management student background, I come from management education background and teaching background also. So what can we do here? Well, this is not story, this is a history, which is a history of 2,500 years back. And you will find this story in a book called Leading Consciously by my friend Devashish Chatterjee, the present director of I.I.M. Kozhikode. Alexander the Great has come to India. He has a battle to fight with King Porus. He has laid down his, camp on the bank of river Shillong. Every morning, the prince on horseback will train his troops, preparing them for the battle, sweating it out. At the end of the field, where the forest starts, under the tree, they will see a strange-looking Indian sitting every day. Bare-bodied, loincloth, long hair, long beard, sitting for hours in a particular position and looking at the horizon. So one day, with the help of local people, Alexander goes and begins a conversation. From the horseback, the prince says, "Sir, we find you every day here, sitting under the tree for hours. What are you doing? What exactly are you doing?" No answer. Alexander comes ahead, approaches. "Sir, we really want to know what you're exactly doing, because apparently, to us, you're doing nothing. While we are sweating it out to fight the battle, you're sitting here doing nothing." No answer. Finally, the prince comes from the horseback, comes down, goes close. "Sir, we really want to know what you're doing. At least you can tell us what is your purpose in life, because of which you're sitting here for hours doing nothing." Now see, the question has changed. Earlier it was, what are you doing? Now it's purpose of life. And now the strange Indian opens his mouth. "Well, can you please tell me what is your purpose in life?" "Well, you don't know, sir. I am Alexander the Great. I'm out to conquer the world. That's why I'm in India. I have a battle to fight with King Porus." "Oh, we have a battle to fight with King Porus. You'll conquer the world. What an ambition. Great. Suppose you achieve one day. You conquer the world. Then what will you do?" Then Alexander says that I will take all the horses and the elephants from the countries which I conquer back to my own country. Oh, horses and elephants from all the countries you conquer, you'll take back. My God. Okay, Prince, you achieve that one day. What will you do after that? After that, I will take all the men as slaves and all the women as entertainers for us in Macedonia from the countries which I can't conquer. Really, what an ambition. What an ambition, Prince. Men as slaves, women as entertainers from all the countries you conquer. Suppose you achieve that too one day. After that, what will you do? The prince kept quiet for a little while. But he was also a student of Aristotle. He was a smart guy. So he said, "Sir, probably after that I will sit on my throne and relax." And the old man says, "That's what I'm doing." A very interesting cross-cultural conversation, friends. And this is the genius of the Indian master. Alexander is representing what? Exactly what today we have, what we call the Western model. Acquisition, consumerism, possession, exploitation. Right? Going out, energy is flowing out. Our internal energy is constantly flowing out to conquer, to capture. The mastery of the Indian guru was, he never criticized Alexander. He never told him what you're doing is bad or wrong. He pushed him to his farthest limit. After that. And finally, the answer comes from Alexander, that after that I will sit on my throne and relax. And the old man only endorses that yes, that's what I'm doing. Friends, this is what we need today. Only dynamism is not enough. Only acquisition is not enough. It's time to hold back. It's time to sit back and look within. That's what the old man was doing. When we draw our energies from outside, within, unless we explore the inner space, unless we explore our inner potential, how do we harness our energies and come back with the reality? Friends, why did I begin with Alexander? Because management education in India started with collaboration from the West. 1961, I.I.M. Calcutta, in collaboration with Sloan School of Management, where I was a student in I.I.M. Calcutta. Sloan School of Management of MIT. A few months later came Ahmedabad, in collaboration with Harvard Business School. So we have the entire legacy of the Western management system with us. But after some time, the questions came. Yes, we can import technology. We can import financial derivatives. We can import models. But can we import culture? If we import culture, what is the effect of that? Disaster, dissonance. And let me tell you, friends, I share it with you, with the eminent personalities here today, that it was one Indian professor in the late 1970s at I.I.M. Calcutta who began this movement. He was my professor, and later he was my leader, my senior colleague, Professor Dr. S.K. Chakraborty, who's no more. He began for the first time, whatever you call it, Indian knowledge system in management, 1982. And how did it happen? He was teaching finance. He went into Ramakrishna Mission once to do the organization study of Ramakrishna Mission. After 6 months, when he came out of that study, he was a completely transformed individual. He started first working on Indian ethos in management. And what Vinayakji was speaking about, he started talking about that Mancharin, Purusharthas, the balance of life. Extensively he wrote books, 10 to 12 books are available by him. Today the management educators I find across, in the I.I.M. circuit, hardly people know about him. But it began there. And later on, it was given a stamp by the director of I.I.M. Calcutta, 1992, and Management Center for Human Values came into existence in I.I.M. Calcutta. Twofold purpose. One, Indian ethos in management. Two, human values in management. At that time, ethics and human values were not at all taught in the field of management. Today we talk about courses on business ethics. But 40 years back, 30 years back, no one talked about that. And people ridiculed, people lampooned, people criticized. But Dr. Chakraborty, with firm resolution, he carried on. And the center was created in I.I.M. Calcutta by Dr. Chaudhary. How was the center created? Very interesting, sir. Many of us here, the veterans sitting here, we have spoken about the Bhagavad Gita. I'll come to Bhagavad Gita in my own way a little later. Dr. Chaudhary, Subir Chaudhary, the director of I.I.M. Calcutta 1992, went abroad, UK, and during his, for office work, during his spare time, he went and met his doctoral supervisor, an operations research veteran in UK that time, an old man at the age of 80. Retired man, Dr. Chaudhary goes to his house to meet him, pay his respect, and finds that the operations research stalwart in his study reading the Bhagavad Gita. And Dr. Chaudhary was surprised, sir, you are reading the Bhagavad Gita, this Indian religious text. And what did that old man say? Well, I do not understand why you heads of institutions in India send your students here to study about decision making, where there is such an authentic document of decision making is available in your own country and culture. Dr. Subir Chaudhary realized, internalized that, came back and created the Center for Human Values. This is history. Well, friends, as educators, what do we need to do now? See, I was there for 16 years in I.I.M. Calcutta. Then things changed. The center was not growing. I left and joined I.I.M. Shillong. And I.I.M. Shillong, since inception, has placed thrust on sustainability in ethics from the very beginning. We have had 10 sustainability conferences as of now. I have been chairing all of them. And the best of people from all over the world were invited to speak here. Well, I would agree with 100% with Professor Vinayak that this is not a techno-economic solution again. So what are the lapses which we can, make up? One, the word has already been mentioned by Vivekji, emotion. In management education, when we grew up, it was intellect all over the place. Left brain, right brain completely neglected. Completely neglected. So this appreciation for arts that, sir, you were talking about, where will it come from? Where will it come from? We are talking about sustainability, we are talking about nature. Vinayakji rightly mentioned, all the parameters have declined. 1992, the Rio Summit. Then 2012, the Rio Plus 20 Summit. Then off late, the Paris Convention, the Barcelona Convention. After all these 30 years, everything is declined, but billions of dollars have been spent for those conventions to get people, experts all over the world. The documents were prepared. I'm not saying they are not valid, they're not useful, but nothing happened. Why? My humble suggestion to you, my humble submission to you is, yes, we talk about protection, environmental protection, we talk about preservation of nature. Have we included learning from nature in our education system? This is what Rabindranath Tagore wanted to do 100 years back. There's a beautiful documentary on Tagore made by Satyajit Ray on his birth centenary, which shows in a particular scene that this young boy, Robi, was sitting in the class like you, young boy, and a rote learning was going on in the class, very mechanical. A teacher whom you cannot see is shouting, "Can you see a box?" And the students shout, "Yes, sir, I can see a box." Absolutely mindless rote learning going on in the class. And what was that young boy doing? He was looking out of the window, birds flying, wind blowing, water flowing. At the age of 40, by the way, he was sent to 6 schools and he ran away from each one of them. He never studied in schools, he was educated at home. At the age of 40, he created his institution in the heart of rural Bengal. And sir was mentioning about tribal, Vikramji. In the midst of tribals, he created Shantiniketan, Vishwa Bharati. There were no urban inhabitants around. And he told his students, here you have 3 sources of learning. In the very first inauguration, he said, 3 sources of learning. First is our teachers, who will be staying with you. 2, you see the trees around you? They are your educators, they are your teachers. Be with them, learn from them. And 3, the tribals community around you. And you have to also learn from them and go and improve their lot as far as possible. But go there to learn first. This is the problem we have today. We go there to solve their problems as if we are the experts. Where are we learning from them? They come with a completely different worldview. Paradigm shifts, sir, you're talking about. Paradigm, entirely different paradigm they are representing, which we do not understand, we cannot assimilate. And we just go there as experts. Again, techno-economic solutions which don't work. Right, this is the next thing I wanted to say. The third thing, storytelling. Vivek, you will be happy to know that in management literature and leadership literature today, people are talking about storytelling. Though many of the Indian academics don't agree with that. They don't allow that because no, these are anecdotes, this is not research, right? But the stories which you will remember. I'm sure you will remember the stories you learned from your grandfather and grandmother, and that will help you in a moment of crisis. And sometimes theories don't work. We forget the theories after we leave the school. Right? So what we need, friends, in management education to instill sustainability, values and ethics is creative interventions. And creative interventions begins by asking questions. And this is where I will come to Bhagavad Gita, completely in a different tenor altogether. First, thank you, sir. First, I would like to say, okay, sir, Bhagavad Gita first, how do you approach? My Gurudev, Srimad Somendranath Brahmachari ji, who was a BC Roy gold medalist from IIT Kharagpur 1968 batch, topper of his mechanical engineering batch, Acharya of Dev Sangh Ashram Devghar. He is no more, left his body. He told us to read the Gita Dhyan first before you go into the Gita. In the Gita Dhyan, the first sloka is, you'll find Amba Tvam Anusandadhami. How do you approach the Gita? The Gita is my mother. And like I run to my mother at any time for help, so I will rush to the Gita for help. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a crisis in the first chapter. The Lord introduces the crisis by placing the chariot in front of Bhishma and Drona. And Arjuna collapses. Emotional collapse. Chapter 2, the first statement by the Lord. Please mark, friends, please mark. The first statement by the Lord is a question. Kutasva kashmala vidang vishame samupasthitam. From where did this crisis come to you, Arjuna? And for 20 slokas, he only talks about the glory of the self, Atma Tattva. After that, kingdom of heaven is within. As you are saying, you are Ishwara. Ishwara sarva bhutanang riddhya Arjunas tishtati. So, the presiding deity of the Bhagavad Gita is not Sri Krishna, as my Gurudev has told me. I'm sharing with you. Is I, whom the Lord Krishna is awakening within us, to harness that energy and fight. The last sloka by the Lord, chapter 18, again 2 questions. What are they? Kachit eta shrutang parthata ekagrena chetasa. Have you listened to me with single pointed attention? Number 2, Kachit agyana sammoha pranashtasya dhananya. Has it removed your problem which invaded your mind in the very beginning? Has it solved your problem? It's the only spiritual text under the sun, probably, correct me if I'm wrong, where the Lord begins his conversation with a question and ends his conversation with 2 questions. In every other spiritual literature, pravachan boliye, ya satsang boliye, it is the people sitting there who ask the question, the disciples, the devotees, and the master announces the answer. Bhagavad Gita is 180-degree turnaround, and that's why it's important for us. It helps us to ask questions. Friends, I will conclude with a very famous poem by Rabindranath Tagore. And it was dictated by him 26th of July 1941, 10 days before his death. He was lying in the deathbed. He dictated it. The first day's sun in the beginning of life asked a question, who are you? No answer came. Year after year went by, the last day's sun, the last question asks, in the western seashore on a silent evening, who are you? There was no answer. We have to keep the questions alive. Sometimes the questions that deserve, disturbing. Sometimes the questions are challenging us, but we have to accept the challenge. What is sustainability? Is it just a techno-economic solution? Friends, I will again use 4 lines from Tagore to conclude my presentation. This is about the light. If from ignorance to wisdom, the light. The sun is setting in the western horizon. It looks at the world and asks, who is there now to show the light? I'm leaving. The world is silent. It's darkness all around. Then a little lamp lights up in the far corner in the darkness and says, sir, I will do the best that I can. So we are not individually, maybe we may not be Vivekanandas or Tagores or even Buddhas and Shankaracharyas, but 100 little lamps here, sitting here in the evening also gives light. And that is where the light comes with peace of mind, not the glaring of neon lights, but 100 earthen lamp lights in the evening gives you peace, right? Sanavavatu, Sanau bhunaktu, Saviryang karavavahai, Teyasvi nadhitam astu, Ma vidvishavahai, Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om. Thank you very much.